I'll show you derping on the Twitch. Meme. Oh my god, he's keeping track. This asshole, this fucking dick over here, this fucking skinless and muscleless dick is fucking keeping track. He's keeping track of how many times I've died. You know, Duncan can make fun of me. People in my chat can make fun of me. That's fine. You know, I've got no problem up to that point. When the game starts making fun of me, that's where we're going to have problems. Where does the guy that made this live? Because I think I need to go kick his ass. He's being a dick right now. I'm just kidding. I've never been in a fight in my life. Not entirely true. Duncan, do you remember Hector?
Hector.
He's getting smaller, isn't he? Do you remember the kind of redneck skinny guy that lived with Susie and them for like a summer and hung out a little bit? Did you ever meet him? You remember Hector?
I think I met him. I don't think I remember him.
Well, that's a fun story. I'll tell it really quick. So there's this guy. Me and Duncan were in the same fraternity back in college. That's how we know each other. So if that kind of gives the dynamic duo thing here a little light, kind of lets you know why it's happening, I suppose. Because me and Duncan are fairly similar people, I would say, as far as being nerds and having similar-ish taste. But so we're in a fraternity. It's pretty, it's a moderately sized fraternity. There's like 50 guys in our house every semester. Give or take a few. So some other guys that were in my class in the fraternity met this guy. I don't remember his real name, but his nickname was Hector. Hector is a former Army Special Forces guy. So realistically speaking, he's probably pretty good at fighting. And he's really strong. I can say that from experience. He is strong. I don't know that he knows how to fight, though, and you're going to find out why. Because I've had very little training. I did about 5 years of Taekwondo when I was about 12. Well, that was when I stopped, when I was about 12. So, like, I know a little bit. I've done sports and stuff my whole life. I played football in high school, things like that. So I've always been a fairly active person. I'm a kind of a fat guy, but I am fairly active. But so he's like Army Special Forces. You'd think he'd be pretty good at fighting. Probably in way better shape than what I am. Generally speaking, could kick my ass. Also, our other friend's ass. But, as you will find through this story, that is, in fact, not entirely the case. Well, thank you, Wallbanger. I appreciate. Oh, okay, you just want me to show my tits. You're just saying that I'm beautiful because you want me to show my tits. Is this what you want? Is that what you want right there? There it is. Tits. I'm popping a titty. I'm popping 2 titties. That's more titties than what you wanted. But anyway, so this guy, his name we're just going to call him Hector because that's his nickname. Hector's a guy that we had known for a little while. Our friend his name is Matt, but his nickname is Susie. There's a story behind that, but I'm not going to tell that one right now. So, Susie meets this guy. His name is Hector. They work together in the town where we were going to college for a little while. Hector's a little older than us. Let's say I'm about to turn 27 this summer. I'm old, by the way. I'm about to turn 27 this summer. Hector's probably about to turn like 30, 32-ish, somewhere in that range. So he's a little older than us. Hector is married. Has a couple kids. He's, been in the Army. Obviously, he's not anymore now. He's a civilian. But, he's Army Special Forces. So Hector, though, meets Hector at work. Hector seems like a pretty cool guy. Hector is kind of a cool guy. Like, I enjoyed hanging out with him. We drank together a little bit. Things were cool. Well, Hector starts going through kind of a rough divorce. And I feel for the guy. Like, that sucks. He's, like, his wife left him, took their kids. He doesn't get to see his kids much anymore. Like, that's really shitty. Like, I understand entirely what's happening with this guy's life, and, the rest of us are trying to be there for him. So my buddy Susie and our other buddy Alex live together in a house off campus, and they let Hector come live with them when he gets kicked out of his wife's house. Hector has a job at this point, so Hector's paying a little bit of rent, stuff like that. Well, Hector apparently, and this is something that becomes apparent to us later on, Hector is becoming an alcoholic due to the circumstances of his life. Not to say that I'm not an alcoholic or that Duncan isn't an alcoholic, because we're alcoholics. We're all alcoholics. You know, I mean, fucking really, at the core, everybody's an alcoholic somewhere down there. But you either control the alcoholism or the alcoholism controls you. Unfortunately, Hector started to let the alcoholism control him a little bit. So without going into too much detail about what happened, it was me, Hector, a couple other guys that we knew, and we went to the next door fraternity one night to go party with them. We were having fun. I had some tequila, because for whatever reason I hate tequila, but it sounded like a good idea that night. Hector, who lost his job, by the way, Hector lost his job at some point here, and started like mowing the lawn and stuff to basically pay his way for the house that Alex and Susie lived in. Hector doesn't have any money, so he doesn't really have access to any alcohol. So I had some tequila. I was like, oh yeah, sure, you can have some of my tequila. We're friends, right? So give Hector some of my tequila. Hector gets really drunk. We go to our friend's fraternity. We're having fun over there. Hector continues to get more drunk because people are still feeding him drinks because in Rolla people are really cool like that and they'll give you free alcohol. Rolla's a really fun place, by the way. Fraternities generally like each other. People get along, and everybody just loves to get drunk. It's good deal. Hector at this point now is very, very drunk and is arguing with some guy who's about to go into the Marines. He's like, oh, you shouldn't go into the Marines. The Army Special Forces is better. Army Rangers are way more cool. And the guy's like, well, yeah, but I'm going to go into the Marines. And so Hector's just kind of being an asshole at this point, and he's really, really drunk. At some point, this turns into a fight. Hector is now trying to fight this guy. Hector grabs him and takes him to the ground. Hector's trashed. Grabs him and takes him to the ground. The guys of this fraternity, who we are trying to keep good relations with at this point, because we are not trying to start a fight with them, but our friend is, our friend is starting a fight. So, so Hector takes this guy to the ground. He grabs him, goes to the ground with him. The dude's friends start trying to help. I see this happen. I'm kind of drunk. I'm like, well, I better fucking jump in here and fucking do something. So I grab Hector. So Hector is Army Special Forces, and I have done a little bit of Taekwondo and some sports in my lifetime is where this is going. Grab Hector, hold him on the ground. They finally managed to get this other guy that Hector was trying to fight away from us. So it's at this point it's now just me and Hector on the ground. I've got Hector in full Nelson, so I got him up here, head's in front of my head. I got my legs wrapped around his body so he can't really move. And I'm like, Hector, let's leave right now. Let's go home. You're really drunk. We'll put you in bed. Everything will be fine. These guys are going to be cool about it as long as we just leave. Well, Hector starts being an asshole and tries to punch me in the face, which is not something that's really easily to do whenever you're locked in the position I had him. And I was like, Hector, quit being an asshole or the cops are going to get here. And when the cops get here, they're just going to take you. I'm trying to be nice. Come with me. Let's leave. Hector is still being an asshole, starts calling me names and being just generally a dick. And so at that point, I was pretty done with it, so I stopped fucking talking to him. So I held Hector on the ground until the cops showed up. They came and took him, and they put him in the drunk tank. Probably saved Hector from a lot of problems, because he had a couple pocket knives on him, there was two. There was two pocket knives that he had. Both fell out on the ground right as the cops were getting there. So the cops come up, shine a fucking spotlight on us, and I'm like... They're like, are you guys done? And I was like, nah, man, I'm just making sure he's not touching anybody, while he's drunk being an idiot. And they're like, all right, well, get up, and we'll deal with this. And I was like, all right. As I'm getting up, I grab the pocket knives and get rid of them. Somehow the cops didn't see, or maybe they just didn't give a shit. I don't know. It's one of the two. Hector gets arrested. He goes to jail. He spends the night in the drunk tank. He apologizes to me the next day. Realistically, things could have been cool from there. But so I kind of quit hanging out with him at this point because I was done with the bullshit. Turns around and the next time he gets really fucked up, he starts making fun of and trying to pick a fight with our friend Alex, who is one of the people currently letting him stay at his house for free. So long story short there, Alex turns around and fucking beats his ass. He goes to jail again, and then he moved back to Texas with his parents, and none of us ever heard of him again. So I don't remember why I started telling this story, but that is the story of how I beat an Army Special Forces Ranger person in a fight, sort of.